good in the universe, that we are using it, that we are not here by chance, we are here by divine appointment. And as I welcome you once again, I welcome our viewing audience that you tuned in at this moment, because this is the moment that you're ready. And as we come together, our theme for the month is the law of attraction. Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, has a beautiful, beautiful chapter on the law of attraction in the Science of Mind textbook. And he said trained thought is far more powerful than untrained thought. So where thought goes, energy flows. This morning, we're looking at creating vibrant relationships. And that as we attract vibrant relationships into our lives, we remember there really is only one relationship. And that relationship is our relationship to ourselves. Jesus said it, didn't he? He said, love thy neighbor as thyself, presupposing that we love ourselves. Some of us have not been trained to love ourselves, but what we know at the deepest level, that if we are created in the image and likeness of God, that it is not only good, it's what? It's very good. What is it? It's very good. That we are created in the image and likeness of something so powerful. It doesn't matter what we call it. We can call it God, Father, Mother, First Cause, Nature, Universal Mind, Higher Power. It doesn't matter what we call it. But to know that which is within us is greater than that which resides in the world of conditions, in the world of effects that show up all the time, in the world of appearances. These things are just little appearances that show up so that we can deepen the quality of our lives. And it's wonderful, really, what shows up many, many times. It's so interesting how we put our focus on the negative. We even call it bad karma, but there is no bad karma or good karma. There are merely experiences. When we get it, that we are experiencing something at this moment, and we can go around the room, and each and every one of us have had those very deep experiences that seem like, I don't think I can get through this. It seems like the worst experience of our lives. But Dr. Ernest Holmes said, when things look the worst, when they look terrible, this is the best time to do your spiritual treatment. A spiritual treatment is a positive prayer of alignment. It's not begging, bargaining, or beseeching an anthropomorphic God in the sky. It's acknowledging there is a power and a presence right here within my own heart and soul. That I tap into that energy and I connect with everyone that I meet. That we embrace in that realization. We acknowledge when we say namaste, truly, that if I'm in that place in me and you are in that place in you, that there is only one of us. Because you are as close to God as I am ever going to get. And I am as close to God as you are ever going to get, believe it or not. Because we are the vessels of the living God. Our body is the temple of the living God, of which and through whom which we do such a good work. We connect at that sacred level. And there's great joy, which is the most infallible sign of the presence of God. There's joy, and there's energy, and there's aliveness. And it was interesting, I was reading on Facebook, one of my Facebook friends, and she said that she had heard from her sister that her other sister, who had just turned 60, had died of a heart attack. And she said, I feel so sad, because she never lived her dreams. She never could ever get it together. She never really had an experience of life. I feel so sad for her that she didn't experience life. And I felt compelled to write back that when the souls in this plane seem to not make the adjustment and move on, is because they can understand better in another dimension, in their light body. That when my sister, her birthday is this month, and every February 22nd, I set up her picture with a little candle and an altar and blessed the love that we shared in our relationship. That she took her own life. That this was her choice to leave the planet at 45 years old. I have no judgment on that. I have no judgment on how anyone wants to move from this plane to the next, because the veil is very thin. In my Father's house are many mansions. there are many dimensions, and that it's not up to us to judge. Our relationships are based on how we feel about ourselves. And if we are into self-judgment, if we're beating ourselves up at every turn in the road, and if we drop something and we think, oh, you idiot, and all the things of our self-talk, we train ourselves to realize that we are not part of that human condition, that we have to beat ourselves up anymore. That is done. We're complete with that. That's a completed cycle. And when we're complete with that, we acknowledge the conscious presence that we are in every relationship and every one that we touch. I had someone say, my gosh, true, last Sunday I was in Norway. And they said, you go all over the world by yourself. Isn't that hard to do, to go around the world by yourself? And I said, I am never by myself. Ever. I always meet wonderful, helpful, beautiful people. I am never by myself. It's so interesting. I sat next to a young man. It was his 31st birthday, and he was from Egypt. He was a very tall man. He must have been related to Pharaoh, that line. And he was sitting next to me. I was the window, and there wasn't anyone in the middle, and then he was on the aisle. And he said, oh, I'm so uncomfortable. And he goes, those seats up there. I said, that was a seat that I requested, with no one in front of you. Those seats, you got more leg room. And so he said, well, there is a seat available, and I'm going to go up there, and I'm going to sit the one in the middle. And I saw him speak to the gentleman that was on the aisle and the gentleman that was next to the window. And I could kind of feel funny vibes, but, he sat down, and he was gone about an hour. And then I was just kind of going within, and the flight was on the way to Heathrow in England from LAX, and I look over and I see him sitting next to, sitting back in the seat on the aisle, with very little leg room. And I said, oh, you're back. And he said, yes, I am. He said, they had such bad energy. And I'd rather be uncomfortable and sit with you with great energy than sit with them with such bad energy. And I said, well, I really acknowledge you. I said, that's amazing, and I'm very, very touched. And I had a candle that someone gave me, and it was a beautiful candle, and it was scented. It was a soy candle and scented with thyme and some flower essences that we're going to be experiencing soon, this Wednesday. And I said, I want you to have this candle. And he said, oh, I can't accept this. I said, it's your birthday. And I said, I just really want you to have this candle, and I want to celebrate you today, and I want to celebrate your consciousness. And so the flight attendant came by. I said, it's his birthday today. Any champagne for this young man? She goes, oh, absolutely, when it's your birthday. And so, he was celebrated. And when he was up with the more comfort seats, there was an energy there. It wasn't a sense of celebration and aliveness. It was, oh, you're inconveniencing me. Oh, God, somebody's going to sit in the middle. I thought I was going to have that for more elbow room. Then fly first class, right? If you want more elbow room. So it's just, you kind of like make your choices where we want to spend our money, and that we can do something for a short amount of time, less expensively, and spend our money somewhere else where we feel it's going to do more good. So these are the choices that we make in life. And I just thought, and I thought about vibrant relationships. And he told me all about his family, and that I said, are you a Muslim? And he said, I'm a Christian. And I said, oh, how did that come to pass? And he was sharing about, there was a Christian quarter and a Muslim quarter in Egypt, and he related to the teachings of Jesus. And I said, well, Jesus was one of the greatest metaphysicians and a great teacher. He said, it's done unto you as you believe in your heart. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. He realized that his personality gave way, and the Christ consciousness rose through the personality of Jesus from Nazareth to Christ consciousness. And as we give way to our personality, there's a greater energy that arises through us that we connect with, that we acknowledge this day in whom we live and move and have our being. So when we have those very interesting experiences looking outside ourselves and wondering, why aren't my relationships more vibrant and more alive? We have to go within and do our own work. Begin to approve of ourselves and expand the container of self-love. Because that self-love spills over into every other relationship. There is a great and beautiful story about a little 9-year-old boy named Joshua. And he was going in for surgery, and he was very nervous about it. And he took his little wolf that he used to take to bed. And he said to the doctor that his little wolf had a tear in his leg. Could he sew it up? And the doctor, started to speak to the parents. Says, "Oh, no, don't bother the doctor." So it was interesting. The parents came into the recovery room. They saw Joshua. He hadn't awakened yet. And they saw a little wolf next to him with a little face mask and a little splint and some sutures and a cast on his little leg. They were like, "Oh my gosh. Look at what the medical profession that we sometimes judge," and I think that really nurses deserve medals. I mean, they're just amazing. And there was his little wolf in bed with him, and he'd had a sutured leg and a cast himself. And our little Joshua was not alone. When we open the space to allow God to do what God does best, the human condition, it melts into that higher consciousness. That when we have the opportunity to arise to the occasion, to draw the larger circle, to include something beautiful. I was going out to my mailbox yesterday, and a little girl came running up and said, "Do you want to buy some cookies?" And I said, "Well, I'm sort of fresh out of cookies. What kind of cookies do you have?" And so she told me everything. I said, "Well, peanut butter, of course. I mean, that's a no-brainer." So, she came in, her mother stayed at the gate. She came in, and then we renegotiated 3 for something, And suddenly I had 3 boxes of cookies. And just in those special moments, and I just told her how beautiful she was. And I said, "And how is the sales job?" And she goes, "Well, it's getting better." Obviously beginning now, right? It's getting better. I said, "I'm glad that you can acknowledge that. That if we want vibrant relationships, we put out the energy that we want to receive. As within, so without. As a man thinketh in their heart, so are they. That we put out the energy that we want to receive in our lives." One of my favorite airline stories that I just adore is about a woman she had a long layover, and she thought, "Oh, I've got this good book. I'm going to go to, get something." And so she got some water, and she got a bag of Mrs. Fields cookies, and she had her book, and she went and sat down and just plopped down in the seat, and she had quite a layover. And as she's eating her cookies, she noticed the gentleman next to her reaching into her bag, eating her cookies. She thought, "Wow, that's a lot of nerve." Excuse me. And so she'd have a cookie, he'd have a cookie. She thought, "I can't believe this." She said, "If I weren't such a nice person, I'd blacken his eye." So she had another cookie, and he had another cookie. And the stock of the cookies was going down fast. And she thought, of all the gall, I just can't believe what an ingrate this guy is. This cookie thief. He's a cookie thief. That's what he is. And so it came to the last cookie. She thought, "Oh my God, he's not going to eat my last cookie, is he?" And he kind of laughed nervously, and he split it in half and gave her half. She said, "I cannot even believe this." Her flight was called. She got up. She didn't even look behind at the ingrate and just got on her flight and was just like so irate, like all the nerve and the gall. My God. As she sat down in the seat and put the seatbelt on, and she reached down to get her book, she felt a bag. And she looked down. It was her bag of cookies. I thought, oh my God. I was eating his cookies. He wanted to share. I'm the ingrate. I'm rude. I'm the cookie thief. Oh my God, I can't even apologize. And the truth is, the thing we're looking for, we're looking with. And that all the judgment we put out into the universe comes back to us, pressed down, shaken together, and flowing over. And that when we acknowledge that we have an opportunity, it's like the universe is there for us, an opportunity to share, that whenever I have that first impulse to share, I do it. Because the rational mind will come in and say, oh, you want that candle for your room, for your altar. You don't want to give that away. That was rather an expensive candle. You know how those soy candles are really expensive, especially scented. That's what the rational mind does. But the inner child within us, the inner place of innocence that has never been touched by grief, it has never given offense or taken offense. It is the place of purity within us, gives out of the givingness of one's heart, unconditionally. And whatever they do with it, it's none of our business. It's we created a path of giving and receiving, the circle of life that always comes back to where it began. And what we know is that if we start out on a journey and we start at a certain place, that the end and the beginning is really the same. And we start out at a certain place and we come back to it and we know it for the first time because we're not at that place that we began it. And that as we, realize that if we want vibrant relationships, Robert shared that they were out toning and they were doing drumming and they had the beautiful Tibetan bowls and it was so amazing. And he said, I played the bagpipe. And that these beautiful spaceships came. He said, and they hovered over us for about, very quickly, 3 seconds, and they were gone. And he said that they stood there like you're in awe. Did I really see what I saw? The rational mind will always try to talk us out of it. Did I really see what I saw? And he said they stood there and saluted, and he played the bagpipes, and they played the Tibetan bells, and they drummed at the energy. And he said it was brutally cold out up in the high desert on Friday night, which was the second new moon in 1 month. And that the gift that they were given, we're not the only ones here. If we want vibrant relationships, we can just open the space and go to the high desert and have a visitation. I just love absolutely how it works. And that it's the love energy that attracts. And all the fear-mongering that we hear, the UFOs that are going to take over, that's sensationalism. That's negativity. That has nothing to do with our consciousness, does it? Our consciousness is a consciousness of love, and we only attract into our experience the love. The foundation of love is who we are. Love one another as I have loved you. This commandment I give thee, that you love thy neighbor as yourself, which presupposes if I want vibrant relationships, I can even go to other dimensions and have them come to me and salute them in the beauty of the desert sky. I can absolutely know the truth and feel freed by realizing I only need myself. So on this glorious day, I salute you and I acknowledge our divine appointment, that we are so blessed to be in this way of life, to realize our oneness and to embrace at that place at the heart center. So as I salute you, I know unequivocally that where are we going? We are going higher yet. Where? Higher yet. Where are we going? Higher yet. And so it is. God bless you. I love you. And I look so forward to this amazing journey. Thank you.